Evening, my name is Father Rayappa. Today I want to discuss about the Sermon on the Mount. Actually, we return to the roots of our ecological crisis. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is promoting some kind of value system for sustainable future and sustainable development, and also he denounces some of the social practices which cause damage to the sustainable development and the promotion of nature and ecosystems. So in Luke chapter 6 verse 20 to 26, Jesus Christ identifies a series of blessings, or eternal wealth, we can call it, blessings, and a series of curses, or material wealth, I can call it, or ephemeral wealth. The mistaken priorities, I would call them, the failure of modern affluence, comforts, consumption, and rich economies. So these things define ephemeral wealth, isn't it? Zeal to build and possess. Obviously, we are treading on the mistaken priorities. Our society has chosen curses while rejecting the blessings. This is the root of our ecological crisis. Actually, ephemeral wealth or material wealth, affluence is a cause and a problem, because people, they want to rich and they exploit others and end up in an ecological disaster. And comforts, we want a lot of material wealth to feel comfortable in our life, and we plunder the earth. And consumption, unbridled consumption, problem. High economy, problem today. We came from low to medium, medium to high. That's why Jesus is saying, he is condemning the affluence. Woe to you who are rich. Now he is condemning all the comfort life. Woe to you who are full. And he is condemning consumption, and it's an entertainment culture. Woe to you who are laughing. And then he is condemning high economic growth also, economy, our models of development. Woe to you when all speak well of you, because many countries, high economy, everybody talks, oh, America is beautiful, Europe is beautiful, but it's a woe. Woe to you. Now Jesus talks about some of the blessings or eternal wealth. He considers poverty is a blessing, suffering is a blessing, humility is a blessing, hunger is a blessing, compassion is a blessing. When people exclude you, that is a blessing. Actually, these are the solutions to the ecological problems we have created. So Jesus considers poverty a blessing. Blessed are the poor in spirit. He considers suffering a blessing. Blessed are those who mourn. Humility, blessed are the meek, it's a blessing. Hunger is a blessing, he says, blessed are those who hunger. Compassion is a blessing, blessed are the merciful. The last, exclude, when people exclude you, suppress you, that's a blessing. Blessed are you when people hate and exclude you. Actually, these are the solutions to our problems which we have created. Western rationalists have an entrenched habit of classification. They have classified the world into developed and undeveloped, the rich and the poor, civilized and uncivilized, educated and uneducated, and so on and so forth. The classification was for the sake of understanding alone. That would be one thing, but it is used to put one class above the other. So being rich is better than being poor. Being developed is better than being undeveloped. So, being rich is better than being poor. So, the rich and the developed then take it upon themselves to make a mission of forcing everybody to follow their example, their monoculture, and to make the poor feel inadequate when they are not like the rich. For millennia, there have been people all over the world who lived in great simplicity without ever considering themselves poor, underdeveloped, or uncivilized. My own family in Ekattupadi in Vellore, in Tamil Nadu, India, lived without the trappings and trivia of what is considered to be rich and advanced. Yet we never thought of ourselves as poor. We were who we were, human beings, not human havings. Many tribal cultures and peasant societies lived and still live without war, without corruption, without pollution, without nuclear weapons, without population explosions, without exploitation, without drug abuse. And yet we call them poor and uncivilized, in need of development. The Western ideology of materialism is teaching them to consider themselves poor and making them struggle to become rich. The rich show images through advertising which make people feel inferior, inadequate, and deprived. It is like an unwritten conspiracy to undermine simple agrarian, traditional local cultures and their economies. Only the rich can have a good life. It's the dominant ideology that has been drummed into the ears of most societies. Development and progress are judged according to the increase in disposable income. Countries are competing with each other to raise the average income per head of their citizens, an increase of money supply, and become the be all and end all of development activities. Gandhi approves basic needs while he condemns greed when he writes, "A certain degree of physical comfort is necessary, but above a certain level becomes a hindrance instead of a help. Therefore, the ideal of creating an unlimited number of wants and satisfying them seems to be delusion and a trap. That satisfaction of one's physical needs must come at a certain point to a dead stop before it degenerates into physical decadence. Europeans will have to remodel their outlook if they are not to perish under the weight of the comforts to which they are becoming slaves." In his book, Small is Beautiful, published in 1973, British economist and a critic of Western economics, Edward J. Schumacher, made a distinction between ephemeral wealth and eternal wealth. The phrase "small is beautiful" is often used to champion small appropriate technologies that are believed to empower people, more in contrast with phrases such as "bigger the better." Ephemeral wealth is limited to the standard of living, whereas eternal wealth is about the quality of life. Schumacher wrote, "In the former, there may be opulent living in terms of ephemeral goods, the starvation in terms of eternal goods, eating, drinking, and wallowing in entertainment, in sordid, ugly, mean, and unhealthy surroundings. While in the latter, there may be frugal living in terms of ephemeral goods, and opulence in terms of eternal goods, modest, simple, and healthy consumption in a noble setting. The lifestyle of modern industrial societies, one that places primary emphasis on ephemeral satisfactions and is characterized by a gross neglect of eternal goods. Many pre industrial societies have been able to create superlative cultures by placing their emphasis in exactly the opposite way. The affluent societies of today make such exorbitant demands on the world's resources, create ecological dangers of such intensity, and produce such a high level of neurosis among their populations that they cannot possibly serve as a model to be imitated by those 2/3 or 3/4 of humankind who are conventionally considered underdeveloped or developing. The failure of modern affluence, which seems obvious enough, although it is by no means freely admitted by people of a purely materialistic outlook, cannot be attributed to affluence as such, but directly due to mistaken priorities, a gross emphasis on the ephemeral, and a brutal undervaluation of the eternal. Not surprisingly, no amount of indulgence on the ephemeral side can compensate for starvation on the eternal side. Schumacher advocated a culture of simplicity, as Jesus Christ said, based on his knowledge that the real needs of human beings are limited. They must be and can be met. But their greed and wants are unlimited. They cannot be met. The rich are chasing their wants and the poor are trying to meet their ends. In the context of Jesus Christ and Schumacherian thinking, poverty is not the problem. Affluence is the problem, and poverty the solution. The problem is not poverty, it is social injustice, human exploitation, conspicuous consumption, and the loot of the natural world. These are perpetuated by the rich, not by the poor. People with wealth have diverted our attention. They always talk about the poor as if they are the problem. In the name of aid and development, a few crumbs are thrown at the poor so that rich can salve their consciences and feel that they are doing their bit, and also keep the poor from revolting. At the same time, the rich go on amassing more and more wealth and power for themselves. It is now important to change the focus. Instead of aid and pretending to be giving to the poor, the wealthy classes and countries should take less from the poor. Let the poor keep their land, their crafts, their local economies, their indigenous cultures, and their modest access to forest and fishing. So, why don't you give space to the poor people? They are not after the monoculture. They live happily ever after. They always have been. They didn't need your type of lifestyle and habits. No. So why do you push us in such a challenging situation? I mean, we are unaware of that from the East, but now everybody is wanting your model of lifestyle. So I think being a Western civilization, you have more responsibility, and also Christian nations, you have to set a good example to other people, not scandal. Jesus wants the scandal. A big millstone will be tied under your neck and you will be drawn. What I'm telling you is you have moral responsibility. You should teach about righteousness, ethics, moral conduct. That is the kind of promotion. That is the kind of education and teaching you should give to the rest of the world, because people believe in you. Whatever you say, the rest of the world is ready to follow you. I don't know why, but that calls greater responsibility for the Western nations. I hope they will change and teach good stuff, and so that we can emulate Westerners, and we love to wear like you. Western people jeans, we want to wear. Western people have type of haircut, we want to do that. Western people buy that kind of car, we want to do that. So everything we want to copy Western civilization. So I think your responsibility is greater. So set a good example, and you have to deconstruct everything what you have constructed for the past 2000 years, and now reconstruct with empathy and compassion and values and conduct and righteousness. Thank you. Have a nice day. Good night.